This question has become my quest. How can we communicate, educate, and train the next generation of astronauts in Mexico and Latin America? Human spaceflight is not only a technical journey, it is a journey of the mind, the body, the spirit, and the relationship that we hold accrue together when Earth feels far away. My name is Oscar Alfaro. I'm a space psychologist, educator, and analog astronaut. Throughout Space for Humanity, I want to experience zero G firsthand and transform it into knowledge, preparation, and hope for the Americas. Imagine me at 12 on an ice rink in Quebec, Canada, wearing Mexico's Pee Wee national ice hockey team jersey. My hands were shaking and my stick trembled. Back home, my family, hundreds of miles away, lit a small candle and sent their prayers. I was afraid, but our team stepped forward. That lesson guided me through 13 Ice Hockey World Cup championships, with a Division III gold medal in Bulgaria, Sofia, and in Olympic qualifications events in Logroño, Spain. Then, at 18, rugby became my new path. Fortunate enough to represent Mexico in Pan American Games in Guadalajara, Central American Games in Guyana, the Hong Kong Rugby Sevens World Championship, and the World University Rugby Sevens Championship in Brive-la-Gaillarde, France. My memory cannot hold all those experiences. More than 36 countries, dozens of nationalities that I had the fortune to compete with, hundreds of athletes and the best coaches in the world, inspiring me to coach athletes of different ages, genders, and levels. More than 20 years of high-performance training, sport taught me that courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving through fear with preparation, trust, discipline, and purpose. Those amazing experiences, and many more, and the potential of human beings led me to study psychology at the Ibero-American University in Mexico City. Then I pursued my master's degree in cognitive psychology and learning in the Latin American Faculty of Social Sciences in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and the Autonomous University of Madrid, Spain. Then I completed a neuroscience research training at Mexico's National Institute of Neurology and Neurosurgery, and the certification of forensic psychology, crisis intervention, executive and team coaching, and PsyOps and human ops for strategic intelligence. Within these roles, I have accompanied people through trauma, depression, anxiety, addictions, abuse, physical and neurodiversities, imprisonment, isolation, and major life transformation. They taught me that resilience is not simple endurance. It grows through safety, meaning, emotional regulation, social connections, and human dignity. But what about space? In 2021, I joined the Overview Effect Roundtable of Frank White. In this amazing group, we created the Psychology Task Force to work on a co-authored research called Psychological Challenges of Spaceflight, published by the journal Space Philosophy of the Kepler Space Institute with the Human Space Program. That work deepened my research into Frank White's overview effect, the cognitive change that can occur when Earth is no longer perceived as a border on a map, but as one fragile, pale blue dot suspended in darkness in front of our eyes. Later, on a Mundau scholarship, I was able to go to an analog astronaut mission in Habitat Marte in Brazil. Simulated lunar and Martial environments, I served as mental health chief and studied neuropsychological variables in analog astronaut missions, included neurocognition, overview effect, stress, emotional regulation, behavioral adaptation to isolation, interpersonal relationships, and performance. With Julio Resendez, we designed and facilitated what, to our knowledge, was the first Temescal swing lodge ceremony integrated into an analog astronaut mission as part of its mental health and crew cohesion strategy. There, space psychology stopped being theory. It became confinement, uncertainty, and a crew discovering that survival depends not only on intelligence, but cohesion. But what about humanity? Education is the key. I began teaching ice skating at 15. Little did I know that decision would change my life. Later, I founded Seoul, Mexico, inspired by Sugata Mitra's self-organized learning environments, and developed educational initiatives, including the Future Academy and the bachelor's degree in astronaut operational readiness. Through projects with UNESCO, I was a consultant in innovation in education and curriculum development for Mexico's national public educational reform. With the collaboration of several private and public institutions and schools across the region, I have designed learning experiences using SOUL methodology, entrepreneurship, STEAM, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, psychopedagogy, and personalized school models for vulnerable communities and private schools. This work has reached more than 16,000 children and adults and trained over 3,500 educators around the world. But how about space jobs? Life also took me to the corporate industry, where learning in companies like Coca-Cola, Corsair International, and as a human resources strategist and consultant, I also learned how talent are identified, assessed, recruited, onboarded, coached, and developed for demanding roles. Now, in this new space race, our role is to train the best people for all space needs. And then, what would life be without arts? Since I'm 13, I live my life as a masterpiece under construction. By arts, music, and poetry, life took me to create two music albums, national and international presentations, and communicate through sound and poetry the possibility of a new and better world. Implementing Latin and folk music, sound therapy, medicinal music, and ancestral prayer songs from native indigenous communities of Native Americans, Mexicans, Wirarcas, Shipibos, Buddhists, and many more. Music taught me that knowledge can reach the mind, but stories and sound can reach the heart and our soul. That's why, for more than 18 years, I have also apprenticed in traditional ancestral medicine. As a Mexican traditional doctor, my endless learning of Temazcal or Nipi, herbalism, 5 years of Sundance, 5 vision quests, moon and sun circles, sacred pipe ceremonies, and men's circles took me to be initiated in several native, indigenous, and ancestral traditions. Our elders inspired me to create and lead a postgraduate program in therapeutic guidance with ancestral medicines, with dozens of students learning from healers and scientists. These teachings do not replace science. They remind me that multiplanetary exploration without human connection and relating to Mother Earth can become an invasion, and that knowledge without care can lose its humanity. What will happen before and after I fly in zero G with Space for Humanity? Today, I bring these paths together as founder of the Astronaut Training Agency of Mexico and Latin America. With the astronaut operational readiness bachelor's degree and an AI-powered edtech learning platform for the Americas and the world, we connect space technology, human factors, entrepreneurship, crew readiness, analog missions, and human performance. Our mission is to transform wonder into knowledge, knowledge into preparation, and preparation into humanity's next step forward to the stars. Mexico and Latin America does not lack talent, courage, or dreams. It lacks doors, mentors, options, specialized training, infrastructure, representation, and stories by which our communities can relate themselves with. With Space for Humanity, I would transform my zero G experience into a multilingual program for research, educational experiences, analog training, international collaborations, and new pathways for the next generation for astronaut operational readiness. At 12, I stepped forward on the ice. Today, I am ready to step into zero G and bring that experience home so the Americans and the rest of the world can not only reach space but remain healthy, ethical, connected, and deeply human while we get there. We belong in this future. I'm ready. Thank you, Zero G and Space for Humanity.